This is the test security and ethics training for anyone giving the state assessments for the 2017-2018 school year. There are a few resources that you will find helpful. The first one is ksde.org, and then you go to the assessments tab. If you are on the main site, you'll click on A and then go to assessments. And on this site, there are lots of different resources, and this is a good place to go back and check on things because as things get updated, this is where the new versions will come up and you'll be able to see that things have been changed. The other one is kansasassessments.org, and that one is a site that kind of gives you some up-to-the-date, types of information for if KITE is down or having issues, or just kind of a place to start if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about state assessments. If this is your first year giving assessments, you might want to watch this little video. It gives a overview of what to expect, what you'll see, kind of what KITE looks like. So that's a really good place to start. The tabs up at the top also have some information on the actual assessments as far as content and things like that. The third one is the Educator Portal. Not everyone will have access to the Educator Portal, but if you do, then you will see a login screen and you will put in your information there and you'll be able to see what the status is of a test for a student, if they're in progress, or how many questions they still have left to answer. The examiner's manual is something that everyone needs to read through, and it gives details on the specifics of test security. If you will look at that, that becomes available the first week of January and is also on the ksassessments.org website. If you are someone who is an administrator of the test or supports the administration of the test, you need to read that and the test security and ethics fact sheet before you give the state assessment. This is the Kansas assessment overview. This shows you exactly what assessments are given this year. This year we're giving 4 different subject area assessments. The first is math, then ELA or English Language Arts, science, and history, government, and social studies. You'll see the grades listed for what grade levels give those assessments and how much is estimated for the time to complete those assessments. Now, the state assessments are untimed, so this is just a guide to give you kind of a direction in scheduling, but students have an unlimited amount of time to actually finish the test. So you'll have to keep that in mind as well. The testing window this year starts March 13th and it goes through April 27th. If a student arrives on a date later than March 13th, then they do not need to test because they will probably already be in the system for the other district that they have come from. This is the test security and ethics fact sheet. You will need to read this. You should have a hard copy of it, and you will need to read this and just make sure that you agree with all of the responsibilities that go along with administering a state assessment. There's some important information on there. For students who need accommodations, there is an accommodations manual, and everyone should read through that accommodations manual just to make sure that you're aware of the different things that are available for students. The only people that will fill out the forms for accommodations are the special ed teachers, which are Christine, Brenda, Rachel, and Marna. Those people, I will give specific instructions on how to fill out accommodations so that they can make sure that we have those documented before the kids start testing. So we know what types of things they can expect to have for accommodations. The purpose of the test security and ethics training is just to make sure that everyone is kind of on the same playing field for giving state assessments so that we can have valid scores, and just to make sure that all of the assessment information stays secure and confidential. It is the responsibility of people who are administering the test to make sure to follow the security protocols and the procedures so that we are all doing the same thing and each kid is tested fairly. If you have given state assessments in the past, you still have to view this training video, and it's something that is done yearly for everyone. In order to administer the state assessments, you have to be an employee of the school. Parents and volunteers are not allowed to administer state assessments or proctor state assessments. Before you start giving state assessments, make sure that you are familiar with the dates of testing and how many sessions are there. We will have the principals start scheduling assessments shortly, and once we know the schedule, we'll get that out to you. There is a change this year for the history, government, and social studies assessments. There is a writing part, and on that part it will be human scored. So it is recommended to have the history, government, social studies assessments administered first so that there's time to allow for the human scoring of the history, government, and social studies assessments. It is important to follow the procedures that we have for destroying the test materials. The way that we do it in our district is if a student has scratch paper or any type of paper that helped them with the assessments, that will need to be collected at the end of the testing session and then given to the building principal, or if I'm in there, you can give it to me, and then those will be shredded at the end of the testing season. Make sure that you remove or cover bulletin boards or anything in your room that might give an advantage during testing. All of those charts and diagrams need to be covered. Make sure that you don't say or do anything that would let a student know if the answer is correct, and you cannot ask them how they got to an answer or why they chose the answer that they chose. You cannot have students redo a specific item or go back and review anything in any part of a test item once they've already started testing. After the student is done, the review and end screen will pop up, and that's something you can have them raise their hand, and you can go over and verify that they have finished the entire session and make sure they have all the check marks for all the questions being answered. You can't go back and review each item, but you can say, okay, you have not answered a certain item, go back to that item and review it before you exit the test. This is also a good way to make sure that students have answered all the questions. I know that it's hard to get them to get in the habit, but it's good to have them show you the review end screen before they exit the test. Make sure that if you have a problem with a particular question, like you don't think that there's a correct answer or something, you can't take a picture of anything on the screen or have that in any way. So make sure that if you do have something that is an issue, just jot it down, and then you can talk to me about it, and then I will actually take that information and email it to the state test coordinator. So you can't give too much specifics, but you could say on part 1 of the ELA test, the question looked incomplete, but that's about all the information you can give me. Make sure when the assessment is being given that you actively walk around the classroom and make sure that kids are on task and that they're not doing other things that they're not supposed to be doing. There is a calculator on screen that will be available. This year they do give the option of using a handheld calculator, but with the different stipulations of that, we as a district have decided only to use the on-screen calculators. So these are the different calculators that are available for students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then also in 10th grade. Those are the types of calculators that they will be using. There are some parts of the test that do not allow for a calculator, and those are the types of questions that will have students demonstrate computation skills. So those questions will make the calculator not available. Like I said before, don't take pictures or don't save any type of part of the test that would, give away what the question was or what it was about. And then I will take that information and give it to the district or the state test coordinator. When you log into the KITE program, you will see that there is a warning or a notice that tells you not to share your password with anyone. There is sensitive information, student sensitive information in the KITE portal, educator portal. So you don't want to just pass that login to another teacher that you think might want to get in. So make sure you keep that information private. Every day, I will email the daily access code. When a student gets to a test login, they will have to enter their username and password, which will stay the same for the entire testing season. And then the daily access code is something that changes each day. The email that I will send hopefully will be the day before the test. And then for the subject of the email, I will put the testing date, and that is also the password to open the daily access code. Make sure that you enter the full date, so all the characters like 03/12/2018, that will be the password. And I'll send a test out before we actually start testing just to make sure that everybody can get into that. I will provide those to you and make sure you keep them secure. Don't print them out. That is not a secure way to distribute them. There is a chance of having monitor visits every year. They have said for the past couple years that they would like to visit some new districts that they have not visited before. So there's always a chance that we could have a monitor visit. I will make sure to let you know if I know that is coming, because we will have advance notice on that. After you have watched this assessment training video, you will have a training quiz so that just to verify that you have actually watched it and know the answers to the questions. I will email that to you, and after you finish this video, you'll be able to take that quiz. After you've watched this video, you also will want to sign the agreement to abide by guidelines. I have that printed and have given that to you. So sign that and get that back to me before testing begins. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can email me or come by and see me and let me know. And thank you very much for watching.